Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another Broke Millennial. That's me reacting to the Millennial Money series on CNBC. Today's video, living together on 81 grand across the US. What caught my eye for this episode is some people, your goal is to work some job, maybe save up, invest for retirements, kind of stay put, get a house, settle down. But others, more adventurous, more exploring. And especially now during the pandemic, some people have been able to leave their jobs and move around doing either freelance work or gigs, getting to really explore the country, explore the world, because they're not necessarily tied down to a specific city. They've left their jobs. They've completely reimagined their lifestyle and their working life. So let's get into this video. Comment down below if you have any other suggestions for episodes we should do in this series. And if you're new around here, you get subscribed, hit that like button if you enjoy.
When we sold our home initially, we sold most of our stuff and we put some of our stuff in storage because we figured that we'll be back in a year, maybe rent another place, buy another home. We weren't sure what to expect. So made it 1 year in the RV, and I kid you not, I have no interest in living at home. I'm Karen Akpan, and I'm 32 years old.
My name is Sylvester Akpan, and I'm 41 years old.
We make around $81,000 a year traveling around the country in our RV.
And we are currently in Savannah, Georgia. She actually talked me into selling the house and getting the RV. It was 2 years ago. We went in an RV for the first time, and we took the kids out for a trip, and we kind of loved it. So when we got back, we figured it was something that we wanted to do, and we sold the house.
He makes it sound easy. It was not that easy. So after we got back, it was a lot, with the bills. California is really expensive. Our mortgage, honestly, was really, it was like $4,200, to be honest with you. Yeah. It was a lot. We were house poor. That's the honest truth. It was not the best decision for us. So I figured, why are we living this life over and over trying to keep up with all this? Why not just sell the house and buy an RV and then pay off our debt? So we sold our home, bought the RV, and then last year, we paid off all our student loans, paid off all our debt. And
that's such a crazy decision. Just one day you're like, I'm out with the house, it's gone, it's van life for us. But on a serious note, right now we know that real estate prices, especially in California, have been absolutely crazy. So some people, it might actually be a smart decision to sell your house now when prices are crazy. A lot of the most desirable properties are going way over asking price. Super easy to sell. You sell that house, you have the money. Like they said, they paid down their loans, they paid down their bills. They have no debt now. So on this channel, I love to talk about, you have to think about the reason why you're doing something. Whether it be credit score, whether it be your credit. If your goal is not to get a mortgage or a loan or to open some credit account up, your credit score, as long as it's decent, it doesn't really matter if it drops a little every month, right? Here, some people's goal is to maybe save up money to buy a house to retire. And that's always the goal, to buy a house, to own property, to be in that position. But for them, they're at that position, and if they had just held on to that dream that we have to have a house, that's our goal, they'd be stuck paying off that mortgage. Whether or not getting that house in the first place was a good idea or not, we don't know about the background or history. But now, their goals, they've paid off everything. They have no debt. Financially, it seems like they're a little bit better off. They sold the house, I think in 2020. They might have waited a year. It might have been more. But, right, guys, live your life how you want to with money. You can either save up money for 40 years and spend it when you're 65, or like them, they choose to live life now. There's no right or wrong answer. I would urge you to be careful, right? Make the right decision for you. Take care of your finances. But not everyone's going to live the same life. And I think these videos are great to be able to give you a taste and showcase of what other people are doing out there.
And it's just been so freeing since then. We started the blog because we wanted to tell people how we were able to share how we traveled on a budget. Because we started doing a lot of international travel with our son. And so a lot of people always ask, like, how do you guys do it on a budget? So a friend of mine said, if you have a blog, because I had no idea what a blog was, she said, if you have a blog, you can write it on there and then people can just go read it. And so I said, hey, why not? So I started writing about budget travel because like when we got married, we didn't have a lot of money. And then after we had our son, we figured we had to show him the world. And so the best way to do that was to do it on a budget. So I started finding like the best deals and the cheapest ways to be able to travel with them. And so it kind of grew into what it is right now. So we make money several ways on the road. One way is through ad revenue from our blog. Another way is through ad revenue from YouTube. We don't post as much, so it's like really a small part of our income. I've done freelance writing for websites like The Points Guy, as well as Campendium, and also Camping World. So freelance writing around like topics like family travel, RVing with kids, and things like that. But our biggest is creating content for brands on Instagram, TikTok also. We didn't see this coming. It just kind of fell into our laps and we just embraced it and kind of ran with it.
Especially now with social media being so big, and the great thing about it is you can literally be anywhere. It's not like a job where you have to be in a certain place, you have your meetings. Maybe some people gravitate towards places like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, because those are bigger cities. You might be able to connect and network with more people. But if you're just kind of doing your own thing, freelancing, running your own accounts, we never had this before. 20 years ago, before the internet, you can't make a living off of social media. It's insane to think about. And as it continues to develop, given the downside of social media, there is also the part where people are able to find a new passion. Maybe they were stuck working a job before, but they're really interested in traveling, or they're really interested in food. They can take that passion and just kind of grow that organically. You don't have to work for like a travel company. You don't have to work for like a restaurant. You can do it yourself. And if people like your content, they like it enough to support you, you can turn that into a living like this. They could be on the road, they can go on their vacations and still make content. It's kind of like, it's literally doing what you love for your job. And I think from a finance perspective, social media has been a great gift to a lot of people, giving them new opportunities that we just did not have before. And with the pandemic, maybe people got laid off from their jobs, switched jobs, are looking into doing this now. I will say it's not easy. It looks easy when you just see everyone you follow with millions of followers to actually start things up from the ground up. It's a very hard process. It's a very long process. It might not be for everybody, but for those who are able to pursue it consistently and build up their brand, I think it's an excellent way for them to generate income and to live out their lives.
I was born and raised in Cameroon. Growing up in Cameroon, nobody talks about money. You know, families don't talk about money. It's kind of like a taboo thing to talk about. I moved to the US when I was about 15 years old. It was kind of different coming here and then having to learn about like how the system works in the US. So it was quite like a change for me. And it was not something that I learned when I moved here or learned in college. Finance has been something that I'm really passionate about, especially now that I understand better and now that we have a son, so that we can teach him everything that we didn't learn growing up.
I'm also definitely interested to learn more about how things work at other places. This channel is obviously very US focused with like the American system of the credit score, of the credit cards workers, how things work here. But it's completely different around the world. I know YouTube is a worldwide platform. So if you have any interesting experiences, any stories, let me know down in the comments. We'd love to connect and talk about how finance is different around the world.
We got married in 2011 and then we moved into our first home, like on the outskirts of LA, about 2 hours out in Bakersfield. We rented it out.
Oh wait, hold up. They're calling Bakersfield the outskirts of LA. I used to live in LA. Bakersfield, this is one of those things where no one knows where you live outside of people who actually live there. So you just kind of associate it with the closest major city. All right, if you live in California, you live in Southern California, you know, Bakersfield, it's not even close to LA. 2 hours out, that's like calling San Diego a part of LA. That's hilarious.
We lived there for a few years and then we decided to buy another home, which honestly was not the best choice because we bought an even bigger home with more mortgage. So we just went deeper into debt, which was honestly, now that we look back at it, not the best choice that we made. But it was a good lesson that we learned
It
from
was
that.
an American dream. You know what though? We only stayed in 2 parts of the house.
Oh, what is going on? This sounds like disaster. I'm glad they were able to kind of fix things up, but this was part of what happened with the whole housing crisis and the crash. I'm not blaming the people who bought the houses. The whole system was messed up, but people just had this dream of owning houses at whatever cost, had mortgages they couldn't afford, loans they couldn't afford, and the whole thing just blew up. So going back to education, I think it's very important to know your goals and to know exactly what your finances are and how that plays into the bigger picture. For people who don't really know anything about finances, just have that dream of owning a house, but they don't know why they want a house. They just want a house because everyone else has a house. You get that house, maybe the bank approves you for a mortgage, you get that house, and now you're stuck with all these monthly payments. You can't afford it. You're just working every day. You have your dream, you have your home, but are you really living life how you want to? And that's why financial education is so important, because it gives people the resources and the ability to live life on their own terms. They're not held down by working a job just because they have to get a paycheck. Once you're financially free, and if you're able to get there, or you're responsible with your money, you're not held in the mercy of the bills, of the credit card company, of the bank. You can do what you want, when you want to, and be responsible with that money.
Yeah.
It was in the kitchen and the bedroom.
And the bedroom, the
And
living
those
room.
were- The living room, that's where we spend most of our time.
Most of the time, yeah. And then the kids would like want to be in the same room with us. So you have a whole big house and then it's like really not being used. So when the idea came up to sell the home, right away we had to do it.
I was a little hesitant about it because,
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was grounded in California, spent most of our life in there. We got married there. So she talked me into like getting the RV and hitting the road. I kind of jumped in.
So living in an RV for us has honestly been the most amazing thing for a family. We spend so much more time together. We're more relaxed. Honestly, we're happier. We spend about $300 a month on groceries. It's just both of us and then our 8-year-old and then our niece and nephew join us. So when they join us, sometimes we go over our grocery budget. For us, a typical week varies a lot. If it's a week that we travel, we're usually in a new state or a new city. When we
Let's take a look at their budget breakdown. The typical monthly budget, $11,126, with most of that, like 80% of it, almost $9,000 going towards investments. I wonder how that works out because they only make $81,000 a year. So maybe they'll talk about that. But let's see, discretionary, that's discretionary $680. I think they talk about homeschooling. That was one question I had. Moving around so much, their kids probably aren't going to traditional schools. And one thing about schools they don't tell you is that free public school from 1st grade through 12th grade is actually very, very underrated. If you live near a good public school system, it will save you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars as compared to either paying for homeschool or paying for private schools. That's one thing where people complain about taxes. The school system, if you have a good school system near you, it's very, very underrated how much money you would actually pay for if we all had to pay for the schools for our children. Gas, $600. That's going to be more than most people, but once again, they're traveling, living out of a car. Food, groceries, $300, actually very cheap. That's actually pretty reasonable. Car insurance, phone, $200. I really wonder how some of these people have such crazy phone bills. I've seen $200 here. I've seen single individuals with $100 a month phone bills, where most major carriers, you can have $50 a month, one line, unlimited data, unlimited talk and text. Maybe they bundled in like their phone payments into this $200. Wi-Fi $80, not too bad, and subscriptions $41. So overall, nothing really stands out to me as being like crazy excessive, question mark. I will say I do want to learn more about this investments portion of it.
we explore, we find out what are the best places to eat, because we like to try like local foods or what's kind of like in the area. So we'll do that, and then we'll find something to do there that the kids like to do or that we enjoy doing. We'll get out, do some hiking, biking. We love to do outdoor activities a lot. I feel like living in an RV has made us, like love the outdoors even more. Then we also do some work, and we have an 8-year-old who's homeschooled. There are times when I feel like, I'm working and I'm like, oh, I can't get anything done because I'm getting distracted. Because Aiden's here like jumping around, and then like Sylvester's here like asking me a question. So sometimes I'll just like, go somewhere like maybe like a coffee shop or maybe like the front desk of the RV park and just sit down there, get work done, or I just sit outside.
Yeah, that's the other thing about living out of an RV. They were used to this huge house, big home life, and now you gotta fit so many people into this one small place. So hopefully it's working out for them.
So our business has several expenses. We have a virtual assistant that we pay that helps us with like admin stuff. We also have like some writers. We have subscriptions too that we sign up for. One of them like I love a lot, it's like Boomerang, which helps us with our emails.
Adobe,
we love
yes.
Adobe, so we pay for Adobe on a monthly basis. We use Lightroom a lot to edit our photos, so it's like super important for us. We have a 401k account through Fidelity, and then we also have
Roth
a
IRA.
brokerage account, a Roth IRAs, as well as some money on Robinhood and Webull. Our goal this year was to max out our 401k accounts because we didn't have any 401k accounts, which honestly, that really stressed me out a lot because I felt like we're starting late. I feel like people at this age already have like so much money in their 401k accounts. So that was for me this year, was focusing on making sure that we can fully fund our 401k account.
It's good they're focusing on retirement savings, saving that money up. One thing is you can focus on savings up. You don't necessarily need like a 401k or a dedicated retirement account. It just makes things a lot easier and there are a lot of tax benefits. But if you're just saving along the way, that's good as well. Just doing the bare minimum. If you can't have enough money put into that, at least save some for your everyday spending, for your emergency funds.
So we found an RV on Facebook Marketplace. I think he had it listed for about 15 or so, and we talked him down to 14,000. And so we went there, saw it, and then just like paid him the money and then took the RV without like really knowing anything about it. So we spent like a couple of thousand doing renovations inside, like painting, changing the countertops, microwave oven, AC. We also bought a lifetime membership pass for 1,000 Trails, which allows us to park our RV in any of the 1,000 Trails parks, but we have to move every 3 weeks.
We spend about 600
on gas a month?
Yeah.
And then we have a Jeep that the RV tows. So when we're driving the RV from place to place, we're only driving the RV, but when we get to where we're going to, we unhook the car and then drive the car around. When we travel out of the country, we leave our RV at the RV park. So we just lock it up and then we leave and then come back, and we've never had any issue at all.
Most RV parks are gated community and they have security that drive around, so it's pretty safe.
Every month, I would say we spend like maybe like $3,000 on travel. But good thing that some of it is counted as a business expense.
That's awesome. That's, like I said earlier, you're literally traveling for your job. It seems like some people's dream jobs, so really great on them for being able to monetize it and to build up their business to be able to travel as a job, and you get to travel. What's not to like?
So that kind of helps out a little bit. We don't have like an insurance plan. So for like medical care or dental care, we do go out of the country. Sometimes it makes me nervous not to have insurance, to be honest with you. I've looked at plans. We've considered getting it, just kind of getting a lower plan and then kind of paying for it.
Just in case.
Just in case we need it or something happens.
That's crazy. The healthcare system in the US is so bad that since they travel a lot, they just get it elsewhere. Like, come on. That's all I have to say, but yeah, there's some changes that need to be made.
In 10 years, I see us retired, also watching Aiden grow. He is our main focus, so we want to see how he blossoms and what direction he chooses to go in life. If he wants to continue RVing or, go back to a regular home.
Oh my God, that's right. He'll be 18. I just
He'll
realized
be-
that. Oh
he'll
my
be
God,
18,
10 years.
So, it's something to watch for.
So I'm hoping that in 10 years, we can retire with at least like $2 million in assets. And Aiden, he says he wants to be a millionaire when he turns 13. I don't know how possible that is, but he has a Roth IRA because he works in the company as well, so we're able to put money away for him. He also has like a UTMA account where he can put money away. So
And he has stocks too.
And stocks
That
too.
he buys by himself.
That he buys. So we're really believing in the power of compound interest to kind of work in our favor to get us to where we need to get to.
Nothing like some child labor. Just kidding. Good thing they're starting them young. That's also another topic for discussion, like with people with social media pages with their children. Are they getting compensated for that work? It gets a little blurry, but at least they're taking care of their kids. I am also excited to see where they go growing up with this lifestyle. Do they continue, Or do they kind of branch off, go to school, do their own thing? It'll be interesting to see. But really informative and great episode today, I think, just showing people another way of how to live. It doesn't have to be the $200,000 a year office job in the New York, SF, LA, Chicago. This series has shown us such diverse group of people from all income brackets, from all walks of life, all different jobs. So I really like this series for that. Well, that's been it today for Broke Millennial. That's me, Reacts. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments on this video, would you live out of an RV during the pandemic, or if you're able to quit your job and work on something freelance by yourself? Let me know. If you liked the video, hit that like button, get subscribed if you're not already. Thanks for watching. Peace.